Let Andrew Holness work in peace and stop pulling the brother back. Today, I want to fire upon a brainwashed slave. I want to talk about Jamaican independence, the molded illusion and the cultivation of inferiority. How it always makes me sick when a black man opens his mouth to speak and you know that one is a slave, looking for a chain to wear. Mark Golding has chains, a chain gang, and the keys inside his pocket. He got enough of a legacy from big family slave farming in Montego Bay. He says he made his money already, so he's not coming back to thief. He made his money of tens of billions of USD in FinSA. But since his business is failing, do you really believe that he does not come back to loot again? Has any British man ever in our lives in Jamaica not come to take something from us? Huh? Why would it be different this time, you careless Ethiopian? Have you ever seen a scammer stop scamming as early as the first round, talking about him making money already, while he already squandered it, or he watches it disappearing? Huh? Have you ever seen that? Hey again everyone, it's Skywalker. Welcome to my channel where good coffee makes bad people feel bad and it's not a bad thing. See, for those who already have the brew, please give me the thumbs up, and for those who want to stay connected, just hit subscription and join the movement. Hard truth is what we lift up over here. You are free to leave a comment even if you don't agree with me, but as long as you are not here to speak idle, useless words only to insult. It is time for black people to start to see the importance of making sense and leaving crap over there. And today I want to speak to some people, comrades and careless Ethiopians. So, my subscribers and Skywalker masses, when me say uno today, I know uno me attack. Me attack about the uno pull kuno over there so. While the whole and pa Andrew Holness shot there. Yeah. At them me attack. People, there is a little thing about Skywalker that is unique to most. Skywalker grew up within a peculiar mold. I grew up with my mother and father, but outside of that, I had a real spiritual father who made me who I am. He was a Rastaman named Bongo Negosai, and if you were a foundation Rastaman back then who never knew Negosai, you would be missing out. Negosai could well have been the greatest Rastaman who ever trod this earth. But one of the most peculiar things about the high priest was something that many Rasta will not embrace: a cerebral approach, the ability to analyze, to see things for what they are, to evolve and advance to higher truth when, if, or where necessary, not to stagnate in a religious and fantasizing zombie mindset. He stuck to the truth that he knew, but never refused the higher truth that came along. This part of his wisdom he taught me by example. By example, stagnation anywhere in the universe or all the galaxies is dead. Moreover, truth is not always fixed in stone, but it is more like a paradigm. For example, with the changing galactic seasons and the movements of all their planetary elements, a time will come when water will pile at higher or lower temperature. At that time, those that dwell on this plane will need to go to a higher truth. This is how the universe works. At some time, high blood pressure will have to be higher or maybe lower. As a thinker, meeting Negosai made me become even more eager for learning the hidden truths. And I applied myself to knowing above every other ambition in this life. One of the things this did was show me different perspectives and it exposed me to varying angles and degrees to where the minds of our masses were being trapped. The high priest would allow me to speak my differences even when they went against how we had been taught before, or even when he did not agree with my point. At the end of the day, the last thing that happened between me and Nigo side was that he told me to go and do my researches without being afraid of implied conventions, because when the thing is true, someone will hear them for the first time and immediately know it. But then I would have problems with those that care not for the truth, but for status quo, even if that status quo is that which keeps them in the trap. No matter how harmful it can be, malculture can turn into a status quo. Our culture in Jamaica is suffering from malcultivations becoming status quo and comfort zones to all, including Rastafari. Yeah. Our people are free or not. Our people are free or not, depending on ourselves. We are independent or not. We are independent or not, depending on ourselves. We were never given independence. We were only given the right to claim it because those that gave it were reluctant. But we were not given the tools to advance it. We were given contaminating truth, so we would be confused to stay in bondage, or we would be confused and stay in bondage, which we are. We have found Dr. Andrew Holness, who understands how to balance the conventional with unconventional means, where and when it matters, when it comes to fiscal policies or in managing a country. Yet, many people are skeptical, not to distrust those like a son of John Golding. No, that's not who they distrust. These are the ones they trust the most, who puts chains on their heads and tell them they cannot rule themselves. A white man and his Tapanari's friends will rule them, just like in the days of slavery, with a chain gang. They that are guaranteed to prove every 10 out of 10 times that they see you as nothing but beast of burden, and let Finsa be a pint of order to prove it or to explain what I mean. You have yours and they take it. You have your children and they use them. They send them in the fields to work free of cost. Free of cost. And then they make you believe it is you that owe them. They distrust but only someone who looks like them. This is what Jamaica does. They distrust but only someone who looks like them, who comes to us the same way that Marcus Garvey did, and they turn their backs on him. Jamaican distrust but only someone who looks like them, who comes to us the same way that Marcus Garvey did. They will turn their backs against them. They will pull down their shirt tail. They will say them a thief. They will say every bad thing. Them, as a matter of fact, as you call a black man name, a Jamaican black man, I will tell you how wicked him is and him not even know him. It was never the white man that put the spokes in the wheels of a black man's contribution, like Bedouin's movement, like Marcus Garvey's movement, and now like Andrew Holness' bold vision for Jamaica. Black people, Christians, Rastafari, and the man them out the road. Cut out the foolishness, bro. Cut out the foolishness. Don't you see that as far as you go back in history, this has been happening and we never get anywhere because there is always a black man with potential and great ideas, but you always try to turn him into a bag of wire. And the worst part is how you will come back and twist history to make it appear as if you supported your own. The way you make it look like you traitors were supporting people like Marcus Garvey and Bob Marley when they were trying. The man them did have it hard because of Uno. Uno say bad things and Uno never they support them. Man, the general masses were not supporting anyone that looked like them. They were cussing them out and fighting them to establish some white guy or to establish some Eurocentric belief. Same like how you claim that Andrew Holness is a thief because he was proven to be clean, which doesn't even make sense. But Mark Golding is clean because he was proven to be the FinSac beneficiary, taking blood money from black man again, just like his slave owning families did in slavery. And you will come and find all sorts of excuses, all day, every day. When will it be no more excuses, man? Because it happens every freaking time. And sometimes you come and go and like the first time something like this I go happen and I know all the time in history is always a white man and a black man. And one of them put down the black man and they choose the white man and no good name, no come out die. And then sometimes because the black man did that try history say he do something good and no come back come one like say I uno when they support it. Every time. And you come with another excuse. And we never get anywhere as a people. We say that SHIT is filled and we are not going back that way again. But you tell us that the white man is right and that I am wrongfully calling your sugar shit just because it is spelled SHIT. So why is it spelled? Man, go sit down. What the hell is wrong with you chain choosing imbeciles? Yo, brother. Yo, brother. Leave the black man doctor and your Michael Holness and let him work in peace. Do you believe that he can rob us of everything and we don't have it here? Man holding invested fits that money half sure and keeps little in Jamaica. If he robs you, he robs the country completely and can. He belongs to England and that's why Andrew Holness navel string cut here so in wealth ago there so in pick them ago grow here so and one uno are married to one of them because he knows big like fi somehow uno. Cause I knows uno always a talk about because uno hate uno self. Uno don't even know how one thing connects with the other, bro. You are also backward in your societal senses that it seems like you are begging God Almighty to curse you and to curse all your generations to come. You cannot make long-term decisions and you don't even know what affects the long term, what affects the short term, and how one thing connects with the other. Are you Europe no can? You don't ever see white people do that for you, no do? For once in your miserable lives, give the black guy some respect, brethren. You not too damn self-hating. Leave the honorable Andrew Holness alone to do his work and stop working hard for damn chain round on it. Because every time in history, it will not get. Go back, go read it. And when you jump up at the dark, say this I want a different time. It will not get with all of them. All of the British man, them. All of them are going to do the same thing. Ladies and gentlemen, seekers of truth, today we unveil the intricate architecture that shaped Jamaica's independence. A movement heralded as liberation but steeped in spiritual and psychological sorcery. The independence we celebrate was not freedom, but a carefully molded illusion designed to perpetuate servitude under the guise of sovereignty. However, the way out is not some hogwash hullabaloo, infighting, and fancy footwork. It is simple fiscal prudence and a determination towards independence. That's all. Andrew Holness is the best leader among us we see at this time who understand about that fiscal prudence most obviously. Mark Golding is the same guy who just a couple of weeks ago, if it's that far, brought a freaking political manifesto to a budget debate declaring projects worth billions to be done without that damn respect for fiscal prudence. And you're jumping about and screaming about one market trying to sell the idea that SHIT is sugar again. But we don't even know if sugar sweet or if water wet. Or I don't know. Suppose a black man did go in a parliament go show say him so dumb. But who know that do? Tell me something. He wouldn't be there right now. He would have to move. He probably would have to migrate. Why are you like these people? What makes you think little about yourselves and behave in these counterproductive self-effing ways? You know, I remember an old man in England who worked with a hammer. You know, I used to do some little work. We work together. But he always kept hitting his finger accidentally with the hammer. And every time he hit his finger, he would exclaim, F me, as if he deserved it. That always reminds me of the plight of Jamaica. That adverse possessed mindset many of our people are in, the F me mentality. They ask for what they don't want all the time to only be disappointed as soon as they receive it. Obviously, my old friend should have been saying, Don't F me. But why was he begging for the opposite all the time? Just like Jamaica does all day, every day. So here is a very painful truth to some of you all. I will not say much about it today, but I'll just drop these words as brief. At the heart of these deliberate European colonial deceptions lies Christianity, the greatest mole in our society, its foundation rooted in the colonial blueprint. One day we will talk about molding a society, how imperialist nations set up these demonic modes that cultivate mass mindsets in nations that they want to approach with neo-colonialist principles of control. I believe that these conversations must begin since yesterday in order to remove these subliminal acts of sorcery. And you can go ahead and read Revelation 18 and see if it gives you any insight in the meantime. It is you who agree by words to these evil counterparts and these evil contracts, and you accept a religion in their image and not in yours. Something Marcus Garvey want you for tooth and nails telling you not to do, and you destroyed him and did the evil thing anyway. And now you scream talking about F me all day. Run up under my golden chain, all about F me, man. What do you know, man? Marcus kept warning you that when you come together with one accord, to not come with religion. Don't come with religion. Religion is personal. Come with the compromise. Come with the compromise. Come with the compromise. If you walk into a Muslim shop to buy a pound of rice, but he would have to listen to and do your Christian rituals first, you would never get rice. Religion is personal and societal matters are universal. So when you're talking about society, you have to go universal, not personal. It is like too many of us have hit their heads and splintered their brains or something. Arrogance is a demon that makes people want to enforce their choices on others. So when you go and say, if you want this, you have to take this, you marry your own personal religious belief with it. Arrogance that and not go nowhere, just like a brutal oppressors. Oppression that is a form of oppression. But note that when it comes to religion, it is a black people's problem. And them want to know how to maneuver all them things there and still work the societal template or the societal side are living without mixing the two together. When you go to school, you have to stand up and do the ritual what the teacher they do. All do your people are yard or something else them a teach you. Or some other religion. You know, it's abuse and oppression. Because the man pick there could a Rasta and you take him to try Christianize him. And them think that look, look. When it comes to religion, it is a black people's problem because they were deliberately made into last zealots for an illusion distracting from the greater good and claiming that it is for some good afterlife. After you're dead, you go get something. The concept of cult started 1,000 years ago by the wise Murdoch of Anunnaki. Nothing moves a society better because only a cult, especially in the form of religion, can change you in the twinkle of an eye. The British took the African religion and molded it, or in a spiritual way, you can say they added their possessing demons into it. Then they said that it was the most essential condition, or that our people must become Christians before receiving independence. And the explanation was that it would make them become more civilized. Our own leaders must stop learning their esoteric from the same devils that work sorcery against them. The same people who are they work sorcery against some people who don't take esoteric understanding from them. Go to your own. The altars in churches adorned with symbolic reverence represent not just the divine but the British crown. Every church you go, the altar represent the British crown. The Governor General's prayers at public breakfast, thanking God for the privilege of ruling over a land 144 square miles, are not directed at a universal deity. They are an homage to the British monarchy. We don't have to pay homage as tributaries. The God of the system we pray to. So it is not a prayer directed to a universal God, but a paying of homage to the British monarchy, the God of the system. This system has been embedded for thousands of years throughout all their empires and has not remotely changed today. Their kings set up to be our gods, and I will tell you why they are deemed as all-seeing and all-knowing and omnipresent. But if I do today, it will be too much and too long. I will explain at another time. The conversations must be had. And when we understand these principles, it will be easy to free ourselves. Prostrating, bowing, surrendering, these acts of subliminal witchcraft were woven into the tapestry of Christianity, nurturing a passive mindset of inferiority. Our subconscious minds absorb the messages hidden in every ritual, hymn, and prayer. The indoctrination began with worshiping a white lord, a member of the British aristocracy. That's what a lord is, not a black Jamaican, and extended to symbols of innocence like a white doll for a black child, equated with Jesus. And we walk around talking thee, thou, thine, and all those crap. Because if we say you, me, or something like that, it's not going to be holy enough. It's holier when we start talking like that. Everything is a subliminal trick. And yet, the irony runs deep. The Onyame religion, brought by enslaved Africans here, was transformed and returned to them as Christianity. That same Onyame religion existed in Egypt when we were there. That's why we talk about Amun Ra. That same Amun Ra, that same Murdoch who started the cult game, our religion derived from that. Went through Egypt, and when we did the breakaway from Egypt, the Afrim came out of Egypt, and we ended up in West Africa. It became Onyami, right? Before we knew, we said Amun Ra, and later on, many in West Africa said Onyami. Okay? This was not the faith of their ancestors. I mean, Christianity was not the faith of their ancestors. It was not. Our religion was the same thing. Like go to the internet and Google the Onyami in West Africa, and you can go and Google about Amun Ra. And I don't know if Google will easily bring who Amun Ra was, because Amun Ra was a man named Murdoch of the Anunnaki in very, very, very ancient times. And that's where it began. Our religion in Africa came right from there too. And the Christian doctrine or the Christian teaching or principle is the molding, using it as a battleship against our people to keep them in bondage. So you take the religion and you mold it and give it back to them, cultivate their mind. Mindset cultivation is a simple thing, you know. If somebody tells us SHIT spell sugar, and they tell us if we go down there, so You go govern them people there, add a sugar for them every day. You know why people them go get every day? And then when you tell them say SHIT a shit, them go tell you say no sugar no shit, move and go and learn a good place. We go a good school. This is how it works, right? This was not the fate of their ancestors, but a molded version, a virus implanted in their spiritual nourishment, corrupting their perception and identity. The mold, the demon, was now inside the head, guiding thoughts and actions through invisible chains, and that is what is still going on. It's not a thing of the past. Mindset cultivation was the weapon of choice for colonial powers. By manipulating education, religion, language, and culture, they programmed the population to accept servitude as destiny. The British education system exalted Eurocentric values while erasing African heritage. Language was weaponized with standard English elevated above patois, teaching that one's native expression was inferior. All the things them why you say inferior. That's why Andrew knows too big, and that's why Andrew a thief, although him clean. But he not look like Mark Golding. So Mark Golding, with the all like feedback money, I walk up and down clean. Religion reinforced this cultivation, glorifying suffering and submission as virtues rewarded in the afterlife. This was not faith, but spiritual sorcery, a science of thought used to enslave minds and instill a subject-based mindset. On August 6, 1962, Jamaica gained independence. But was this a breakaway from colonial power or a continuation of the same system in a new disguise? Independence was achieved on British terms with the same structures, economic dependency, legal systems, and cultural hierarchies left intact. The elite class descendants of the colonial hierarchy retained their influence. People like Norman, Manley, and Bustamante, I went for them job to make sure say that happen. Marcus Garvey decipher it. I want to put a spoke in at the wheel and the people them turn against him like how them are turn against Michael Holness. For the white man them. And that happen, it happen again. It happened before. It happened every time. It happened with all Bedward. It happened with every single time. It's same thing happen. So when you do and come go on like say I want special case this. Even religion remained a condition for independence. The spiritual template of the British God was not dismantled. It was enshrined in the new nation's identity. Independence in this life was not liberation, it was the evolution of servitude recast for the modern era. The slave is in the head, you know. The slave is in the head. True freedom begins in the mind, but for many Jamaicans, the chains of colonization were never broken. They were internalized. The cultivated mold ensured that the majority remained beasts of burden, serving the system that was their true God. The bleaching of skin, the pursuit of Eurocentric ideals, and the subconscious belief in inferiority are the scars left by this programming. They are the echoes of a mindset cultivated through generations of spiritual and psychological manipulation. This conversation must be had, brother. This conversation must be had. We must rewrite the blueprint. If Jamaica is to truly break free, it must confront the mold implanted by colonial powers. Right? As long as our people are molded, then can't find equality on an equal playing field. So they are being prepared to be given an equal playing field now by making their minds unequal and then setting them out there and say, see, I tell you, say, they ain't bright like how it must be dismantled. It must be dismantled. We must dismantle the architecture of inferiority and reclaim its divine template. This requires not just political or economic change, but a spiritual awakening, a rewriting of the blueprint that governs the nation's identity. So now you're getting an idea of what spiritual warfare is, because you always feel there some focus, focus, or some magic focus, focus, something. I just psychology, I just mind science. Mind science used for evil is sorcery. Ladies and gentlemen, the truth may be controversial, but it is necessary. Independence was not the end of colonization, mm-mm. Or it wasn't even the end of colonialism. That word is better. It was its transformation. The mold remains, but it can be broken. The question is, are we ready to confront the God of the system and reclaim our true freedom? Remember our own God. Think on these things, my people. Peace out.